Alright, what up y'all? It's Metaphor, back for more to Keep the Raw. Representing everyone's you and I verse. We're going to do a video on the moon in Gemini, the 1st to the 12th house. Give you a little breakdown on the moon in Gemini in general. Being mutable, air. Adaptable, adaptable, being able to communicate with anybody. This would be the air nature. So, being able to adapt to any communication style, being a individual in their way of feeling. So this is where that air nature comes in. So since they're mutable, they're able to adapt to the way of thinking and communicating. So if they have their own personal thoughts, they're gonna adapt those thoughts into the emotion and actually be like, I feel this way about it. But I also think that, this emotion that I am on my left shoulder compared to my right shoulder is a little bit different. It's kind of confusing. So the way that you can look at it is getting the way, things may be changing. It's that mutable nature. So the emotion shifts. It tends to be in one space, but also feeling, okay, in the future tense, this space may not actually be beneficial to me, so I want to have this adaptable way of thinking, and whenever I adapt to my different way of thinking, and I feel this way about my thinking style, okay, I need to adapt to communicating it as well. So, I need to actually feel comfortable with communicating this way of thinking. So, in the first house, this would be a personal affair of an individual that their way of relating emotionally is through communicating. So if your thoughts and thought patterns don't actually produce communication that makes you feel comfortable, this would be in that first house. Your personal affairs of you need to find a new way of adapting to communicating. So if you don't feel comfortable communicating, that'd be that lower octave. And if you do feel comfortable communicating, that'd be that higher octave, and bring it to the space of the future where you actually feel comfortable with your personal affairs and your first impressions on people, your individuality, in your first house. So this would be that Gemini rising. So then with the second house in Gemini, this would be the moon in Gemini in the second house of valuing of communication styles. The way that you think, you value that communication style. You feel comfortable communicating your values. If you don't feel comfortable communicating your values, this is a way that you have to adapt to the way that you should be thinking, and then now you need to feel comfortable communicating that thinking pattern and those thought patterns. So if you need to switch up your thought pattern, then this would be that new valuing. Like, okay, I don't value the right things right now. I know that I'm in this certain space right here, but I know I could adapt to a different thought pattern and it would actually accumulate things that I actually feel comfortable with emotionally. I feel comfortable communicating these new thoughts and these thoughts that could actually bring me to the future that I do value. So a future that I could value communicating about. And then the third house, the higher octave, would be an environment that you feel comfortable communicating in. A lower octave would be an environment that you don't feel communicating your thoughts in. So you want to put yourself in a space that you can feel comfortable communicating with the people you're around in your environment. If you're uncomfortable with what you are in your environment about, maybe learn more about the environment. Do a little bit more research on it. Do that Mercury thing, which means communicating to other people about this environment that you're in, or maybe even looking into a different environment and since you're in this certain space right now, maybe you want to look into a different environment. So, this is the Aries rising, so you're unique and original in the general. So this is, okay, do I feel comfortable in my environment communicating, or if I don't feel comfortable in my environment communicating, then I need to initiate and create a new personal, circumstance for myself. So it would be researching and looking into it more and talking to other people about, where could I actually feel comfortable communicating. Where would be a good place for me? What do you think about my communication style? What environments I'm good in? This, that, and the third. Do I feel good in my environment, or do I not feel good in my environment? In a nutshell, is what you're dealing with the Gemini moon in the 3rd house. So the Gemini moon in the 4th house, this will be a privacy, a home life that you feel comfortable communicating about, private home life that you feel communicating within as well. So everybody's thoughts are on the same page, and you can actually bring your vulnerabilities out and feel comfortable communicating those heart space things, the things that are close to your heart. You can actually bring them close to other people and communicate about them. This is what I'm thinking about. This is how I feel in my private life. This would be what you got going on. You feel comfortable with that, or do you not feel comfortable with that? So if the home life is something you actually want to promote and communicate about, cool. That's a good thing. You're on the higher octave. If you're on the lower octave, that privacy and home life is things you don't really want to communicate about. So if you already, are a younger individual and you can't really change that right now, you want to work towards that and feel more comfortable with your private emotions, and bringing them, bringing those vulnerabilities to the forefront, and addressing those, and feel more comfortable with those private emotions and being able to handle them. So then with the 5th house, this will be the Gemini moon, and the 5th house is an expression. So the way that you communicate about your expression. Are you feeling comfortable expressing the way that you think, or do you not feel comfortable expressing the way you think? Simple as that. So this would be with the Gemini in the 5th house. I'm pretty sure, Aquarius rising. So that little space that you're in, that fixed air, that little bubble that you're in, do you feel comfortable expressing that, or do you not feel comfortable expressing your personality? And that's really the root of it. So if you don't feel comfortable expressing your personality, think about what your thought patterns you're in and what space you've put yourself in your thoughts. And where are you currently, and where could you be, and what thought pattern could you adapt to emotionally and actually make you feel comfortable expressing it? So that'd be the higher octave, you feel comfortable expressing yourself, or lower octave, you don't feel comfortable expressing yourself, communicating your expression. Higher octave, you feel comfortable communicating and expressing yourself. Lower octave, you don't feel comfortable communicating and expressing yourself. So, it's all about thought pattern with the Gemini energy. Then with the 6th house, this would be the pattern, health, things that you put on a routine. You feel comfortable communicating about your routine and communicating to other people about creating maybe a new schedule and putting different things on the list, so to speak. The reason why I say it's new, you think about, okay, we usually get together at 6 o'clock, let's get together at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock each week, every 2 weeks, if we're thinking about the real Gemini energy. Okay, every 2 weeks we're going to change up our schedule and pick a different day. There you go. You have you feel comfortable relating that schedule and communicating it, and the way that you think, can your thoughts actually be put out to the forefront, and the way that you, is your communication style healthy, pretty much? Do you have healthy communication? That's the higher nature. You have unhealthy communication. That's the lower nature of this Gemini energy. So if you don't feel comfortable with your routine and pattern, communicating it and actually speaking your mind, you need to find a different, research maybe new healthy ways to communicate. Figure out the best time for you to actually put something on your routine and pattern, the way that where you feel comfortable. So this would be helping you out. More beneficial than there's an opposite of beneficial. I can't think of the word right now. Is it harmful or harmonious? Is your communication style harmful, or is it harmonious? You see what I'm saying? Which octave are you on? With your thoughts and routine and pattern and the way that you think on consistently. So with the 7th house, it'd be how you relate. Is your relationship actually, bringing you to the correct thoughts and thought patterns where you want to go, or are your thoughts bringing you to a lower octave, and you feel kind of in that depressive nature, like, oh, the more I think, the more it's I feel worse. You see what I'm saying? The more you think, you should feel better and put better thoughts into your mind. And so it's like, is your the way you relate your thoughts, is it on the higher octave and you feel comfortable relating your emotions and emotional thoughts? This is Gemini energy, you know what I mean? So even if it's the moon, it's still a thought. Even if it's an emotion, it's still a thought about an emotion. You feel what I'm saying? So the harmful way of looking at it would be, are your thoughts irrational? Like, do you actually have a thought pattern that is unrelatable? Do you have a thought pattern that is relatable? That's the way of looking at it. In the 7th house. So this would be the Sagittarius rising. So are you adapting to your relationship and the other pattern, pardon me, your partner's thoughts? Are you relating to their thoughts? Are you unrelatable to their thoughts? And their ways of emotions and feeling, the way that you react to them. And it's not just one individual. It's not just a love partner. It's anybody you relate with. Your cat, your home. You see what I'm saying? The gas station clerk. How you relate. 8th house would be your secrets, what's behind the scenes, your sacred natures. Sex. Can you relate your sex life? You see what I'm saying? Do you feel comfortable relating your sex life, what's behind the scenes in the closet? Can you open up the closet and show people? I open up the closet and show you. I got a bike and some shoes. You see what I'm saying? I don't even know if I opened it enough for you to see the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I might have got, some shoes and all type of things. So that's some of the things that's in my closet. Me personally, I don't feel comfortable out speaking what's behind the scenes nature for me. But if you don't feel comfortable bringing up what's behind the scenes, your secrets, and your sex life, then that'd be the lower nature. So do you feel comfortable with that? Higher octave, lower octave, you don't feel comfortable with that. Maybe change up the thoughts that you think behind the scenes you don't tell nobody else about. This is that moon and Gemini energy in the 8th house. So higher octave, you feel comfortable bringing up what's behind the scenes in the crevices of your mind. Lower octave, I should just keep those things to myself. Maybe I need to change up my thoughts. You see what I'm saying? Transform that. Transform your thoughts. Then the 9th house, it'll be the knowledge and wisdom, ways of traveling, the mind, or even transportation. So, do you have a knowledge or wisdom that you feel comfortable communicating? Can you actually travel to that destination? You see what I'm saying? Is your computer on your car reading right? Like, are all your lights working? You see what I'm saying? Is all your information making you feel comfortable? Does the knowledge or wisdom that you have make you feel comfortable? Okay, yeah, I know this is gonna work. Higher octave. I don't know if this is gonna work. This way I think, this knowledge and wisdom I got going on, I don't know if it's gonna work for the future. Lower octave. Change up your knowledge and wisdom, way of transportation, the lower octave. If you have a higher octave and you're already with it, you already got the knowledge and wisdom that's necessary. Like, there's a whole bunch of videos that everybody has done on knowledge and wisdom and, the best spaces of it. You see what I'm saying? You just got to get to the starting point and the root of it. Once you do that, you got a good knowledge and wisdom, you can communicate with that anybody and be able to relate that. The knowledge and wisdom. Okay, so it's like, this is the perfect way I could put it to you. I got you. If you can teach your knowledge and wisdom to somebody else and them understand it and you can break it down to anyone, that's knowledge and wisdom that's good because it's irrefutable. You have non-irrefutable knowledge and wisdom in ways of transportation. See what I'm saying? You need to switch that up. If people can refute what you're saying without if they're refuting what you're saying with an ignorant mind, that's different. But if they're refuting what you're saying, even, and got solid facts on it, and they can actually prove everything in reality and show you, like point to you and point to it, then hey, you see what I'm saying? If you're refutable, that's your own issue. If you're irrefutable, there you go. You're on the higher octave. The 10th house, the status, the ways of being seen, like your blueprint. This will be communicating about your status. Do you feel comfortable communicating about your status? Do you feel comfortable communicating your blueprint with your business partner, so to speak? This is an example. Do you feel uncomfortable communicating with your business partner because you're being shady? You have that shady status. You don't even feel comfortable talking about what you really got going on status-wise. We're not going to talk too much about that with a lower octave, but you know who you are. If you got that 10th house there, you know why I'm saying that. That's that switch up nature. You got that 10th house that's, I'm here, but I'm also there. You see what I'm saying? And then the 11th house in Gemini, this would be the associations. Do you feel comfortable communicating your associations? Higher octave. Do you feel uncomfortable communicating in your associations? Lower octave. So the moon in Gemini in the 11th house, this would be, are you being humanitarian? Is your association actually helping the world? Shout out to Dolo DePalma. He got a dope ass song. What are you doing for the world? No, it goes, tell me what you're doing. Tell me what you're doing for the world. So that's that 11th house nature. Do you feel comfortable with your association? Is it actually doing something for the world? Or is it not really doing too much for the world? It's on that lower octave. And you're not really helping out the groups of associations with other individuals. And you don't really want to talk about your association because it ain't shit. So yeah, if it ain't shit, then you got to fix that and get with the better groups. And it's kind of relating to that 9th house energy. Kind of the same kind of energy, like, if those thoughts patterns and your thoughts in your group aren't benefiting you, 11th house, then you likely don't have this knowledge or wisdom that's benefiting you. So you want to have a beneficial thought pattern for the Gemini energy in the 9th and 11th house. So the 12th house would be your dreams, illusions, and nightmares. So on the higher octave, do you feel comfortable communicating by your dreams? Can somebody help you interpret your dream? Can you interpret your own dream? Higher octave. Lower octave, you have horrible dreams. You're scared every time you dream, and it's a terrible thing. You dream about nothing but this reality. It's an awful thing. You think about all types of horrible things. I could name them, but I don't want to even go there. You see what I'm saying? So the lower octave need to have better things going on in your reality. You need to, with your actual real life, you need to do more meditation and do some baptizing and get those old dreams, illusions, and nightmares out of there, and give you some good thought patterns, good dreams and illusions that can take you to the distance. So yeah, much love and holla back at me. Peace out. The moon in Gemini. 1st to 12th house. 1st through 12th house.